So how are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm, hanging in there. I'm just trying to make a living here basically. But I guess the first question is, and the most important question is what is going on with Disney?
I have no idea. I wish I knew. Normally we find everything out like with the media. Like the media is the first to know, and then we get like email on our thing, which makes sense to be honest. I mean, it's better than contacting like thousands and thousands of employees first.
Yeah.
But yeah, no idea. I know Shanghai just opened, but I don't think that we're gonna get like the same treatment that they're getting when we open, because I don't imagine us like being cool with that, or like the public being cool with that in this area with how strict it is over there, like all the different stuff they have to do.
But you guys were all furloughed. Did they email you or did you find that out through the the news also?
We found that out through the news.
Okay.
Or the furlough, I think we actually found out ourselves. Um, or within like the same amount of time, because it at least was on our like company site at the same time that it was on the media. But like everything else, like the park shutting down, like I literally like clocked out of work and then I opened up my phone, it like said like Disney shutting down. I was like, what the heck? Like so like I had no idea and I was at work. But I think the furlough, they at least like posted it at the same time that the media like talked about it.
And so you haven't heard, so they haven't emailed or anything. I mean, I heard that they were talking about June or July, but now it looks like that's not happening, or do we know? I mean,
Somebody was saying that the annual passes are going to be active again in July. But I don't know if that's I don't think it's anything's like set in stone or anything like that, obviously, which is how everything is.
well, I read an article that people were talking about that that cast members and season pass holders would be allowed in first to start it. Did you read that article?
That would make sense. I feel like there's no way, because like Shanghai is opening at like 30% capacity. I don't imagine like pass holders and daily ticket purchasers would even 30%, that would be pass holders for sure. Like most of our parks capacity is pass holders normally. So I feel like there would be no way that they can get like people purchasing daily tickets in there at all. I don't even know if we'll like have access. I feel like our like main entrance passes will be blocked out before. I feel like they'll just let cast member or annual pass holders in.
Well, I think that they were trying to make you guys the guinea pigs. That's why they said cast members and annual pass holders, because you guys go in first and see if we can figure it out, because, especially you guys as cast members would look at it and be like, oh, I get it. I get, this is how it's going to be. And the line's going to be a little bit, you'll understand it a little
Right.
bit
We'll be
more.
like, oh, this is how it operates. But really, they'll be like, but did anyone die? Like, are we good? Like, that makes sense, actually, completely. I'm sure they'll give us tickets too. So, like, let's friends and family.
Yeah. Bring all your guinea pigs in for us and stuff. Yeah.
There
that'd
you
be
go.
Totally. I mean, I'm kind of hoping that they're still working, building and doing construction. I mean, I know that on the DCA side, they were supposed to have Avengers Land or whatever it's called open by this summer. I'm hoping that they're still, I know that they were working up. I did talk to a couple of people that said they were working up to recently, but I don't know if they still are or what's going on with that. But
yeah, I'm not sure. I know that they were working after like everything had been shut down, which was like around like late March. But I don't know if after April 19th, when the whole company went furloughed, if they still had access to the park, because nobody like in there, because before then, up until then, they still had people going into the offices and working in the offices, but once the 19th hit, everyone was sent home. So I don't know if they allowed the construction people in there as well, but I hope so. It'd be cool if it came back and everything was just already set up.
Right? I mean, that would be the best. I mean, and the construction workers are not technically Disney cast members. They're
No.
subcontractors. So if they want to work and do that, then let them. I mean, that would be. I mean, I was trying to find out. There was, I don't know if it was Disneyland or Disney World, but I found out somewhere that one of the parks they've been closed like twice since the day they opened, kind of a thing. And I don't know if it was, I feel like it had something to do with a hurricane, so it was probably Disney World.
I think Disney World, I believe, might have been closed. I know Disneyland was only closed, if I'm not mistaken, when JFK died and 9/11.
Oh, okay.
Were like the only times that the park had closed, and I think it was just 2 days in total.
And I think, and I mean, you know, not to sound morbid, but this would be a great time to fix things that they could never fix before, you know?
Yes. like the first day walking in there, like every store will just look pristine. Like it'll never look as clean as it will when we come back.
I mean, I hope that they take this time to do something, at least, you know, to catch themselves up.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
If Splash Mountain goes down for refurbishment when everyone comes back, then they did not do their job.
Oh, I know,
There should
right?
not be any refurbishments for like a couple years.
Yeah, no, right? There should be no ride that should be, they should be wide open, everything working. Even Rise of the Star, that one should be working perfectly. No problems at all.
Exactly. No excuses.
None. So I want to get to your book, but I want to know, what have you been doing lately? I mean, what's been going on with you and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So I've been drawing a lot more. I finally invested in an iPad. Before I was just doing like traditional pen and paper. And then every once in a while I would like try to do the drawing pad through my computer, but it just didn't feel right. So with an iPad, I've been like kind of messing around with more digital art, which is cool. And so yeah, doing that. I'm still living. I'm here living with my parents, or my mom and her boyfriend right now. So I've been taking them to work and like kind of helping them out with that whole situation and staying busy. But for the most part, maybe watching some stuff on Netflix, drawing, trying to write a little bit. I've always like, wanted to write like little crappy campy plays. So just been like messing around with like ideas that I just haven't finished. All those things that like kind of say I don't have time for, and now I have time for. So it's been just kind of a lot of working on creative stuff that I haven't gotten to.
And we've talked about this before, so I'm not ashamed to share it or whatever. But we both have some form of I don't even know what the word would be, but we both.
I'm scared.
Yeah, right. We both, I guess it's mental health or whatever and stuff like that, and
Yes.
and dealing with that kind of stuff, and now because I can't go to to Disneyland and hang out with you and do those kind of fun things, like I miss that kind of human contact and stuff. So I've been trying to deal with it that way. I mean, I'm really more like, how are you dealing with it, and how are you kind of, moving forward with that?
Definitely. So that's actually been a big thing that I've been working on. So I just didn't know if I should say, but yeah, definitely. So Disney offers like a therapy counselor, a couple sessions a year. And so with that, I've done one like virtual call since this whole thing started, and I had used other ones in person. But I feel like honestly, this break has helped me a lot. I mean, like I'm stressed. I still haven't gotten my unemployment or anything like that. I'm still getting that whole situation, but I feel like I'm a lot in a better position than other people. I'm staying with my mom. Like, there's food in the fridge. Like a lot of people have it worse, but I feel like this break honestly has helped me kind of focus on myself and kind of regather myself. And by doing some things that I've put off for a while, like it's helped me kind of take out that whole thing of like, oh, I'm never going to get things done that I want to get done. And I kind of tear myself down that way and kind of just like compare myself to others. And so with this, it's kind of let me keep in contact with people that kind of better myself and focus on working in things that I want to do. So I've kind of been selfish in this whole thing, which is not something that I do. Normally I'll go along with things when I don't feel like going along with them. And so it's kind of allowed myself to, when I feel negative, like I'll allow myself to feel negative, focus on why I'm feeling negative, and then how I can get myself out of there. So it's honestly helped me a lot this break, and I haven't had those things. I think I'm thinking everything pretty realistic. For a while, everyone was saying like, "Oh man, next week everything will be open," and then all of a sudden like, "Oh man, it got extended. Oh, the next week it'll be open." I've kind of realized this is a lot worse than people are saying. It's gonna last a lot longer. So I think keeping a realistic mindset in there, I'm not like getting constantly disappointed and like anxious about stuff. I'm kind of just like, okay, well, this month I'm just gonna be chilling at home, and I feel like that's really helped me there. And so I've been a lot more positive in my mindset. Like, I mean, I'm normally a positive, optimistic person, but like I've been more positive with myself. And so kind of grateful. It's a weird thing to say, like under the circumstances, like, oh, it's helped me a lot. It's kind of been a nice break. It's not a good break for the whole world, but in a selfish way, I've got to do a lot of things mentally to help myself moving forward. Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously, like, what are the things that you're doing to kind of get yourself out of that kind of depression when it hits during the day or at night or whenever it hits?
So I've been drawing, as I said, and so sometimes when at a certain point I was kind of overwhelmed and I didn't really know what was going on. And when I was talking to my therapist, she said I was like disassociating, and depersonalization is what she said was the thing I was doing. So like I would just I would look at people and be confused. Like I'm like, oh, I know them, but I don't know why or like how I know them. It was like this really weird thing. It was just this overwhelm from like she said it was PTSD from like different things that have happened, and kind of just with keeping busy at work and doing different things and distracting myself. So sorry about the noise. Okay. Distracting myself with friends and just doing things so I didn't have to confront those emotions. It overwhelmed me, and then my mind kind of just like went unraveled. And so with drawing, I was kind of able to draw a lot of things that I was feeling but couldn't necessarily explain. And so a couple of my drawings have been really dark lately, but like I feel good looking at it, and it's nothing like horrible. It's just kind of like, oh, this is how I'm feeling. Like this is an illustration of like how I'm feeling things but don't know how to say it in a way. But they're like weird self-portraits. So it's kind of been nice.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I originally started this podcast for, just to be creative. And then when it came into where we were locked down and there's nothing going on, that's when I decided, well, this is the only human contact I'm going to have, aside from the circle of people. I mean, my whole, our whole circle is kind of other states right now. They're not even here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's tough to be able to even talk to them on a regular basis, as aside from texting and
Definitely
calls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just trying to. This is kind of like an outlet for me, and I was just trying to figure out. I mean, you definitely were that person where they're like, "Hey, Joey, let's do this," and you're like, "All right, let's go." And now, no one's technically giving you those calls because they can't, not because they don't want to, but they can't. They're obviously still checking on you and making sure that you're okay. But now you can sit there and say, okay, I'm going to sit and settle down and figure out, what I want to do and what makes me happy and stuff. So
yeah, I can kind of check in on myself now.
Right.
I still have all those people and those, but with that, I had a lot of great people wanting to connect with me, and a lot of people that wanted to connect with me that really weren't great for me. And I feel like having this distance that like we're supposed to be doing has kind of put a reason to why I need to distance myself from those people. And so I've kind of kept the people that do good for me around more than I've paid attention to those people. And I feel like that's made a huge difference on who I'm spending time with and who I'm wasting energy with.
Right. And I think that Ryan Cabrera is one of those people that you waste your energy with. So especially because
definitely.
Because he's a big bully. That's what he is. That's all he is. He's
big
just a bully.
Yeah. Just negative Nancy always. No, he actually FaceTimed my mom the other day. My mom's obsessed with him. She still hasn't talked about it. She still hasn't stopped talking about it. She'll keep quoting things that he said in it. She's obsessed. Love it.
So let's let's hit on the book a little bit. Like, how did how did that come about? I mean, I know that you're obviously doing some self, some self I don't even self work, I guess, basically, and trying to figure
Okay.
yourself out. I mean, I don't know what the correct terminology is, but you've been doing that kind of stuff, and you're drawing and you're writing and stuff like that. So how did pop up all of a sudden? Oh, I'm going to write a book. Like, how'd that come out?
Okay, so I was actually looking for toilet paper in the stores, and this was like the peak of when everything got locked down and there was no toilet paper anywhere. And then it was the final day on the 19th. It was like my birthday, and they said that everything's gonna shut down the next day. And I was like, oh crap, like I have to go buy a bunch of stuff. So I went to like a Michael's and like looked for like crafts and stuff, and then they had a Five Below store. If you've ever heard of that, it's just some market. And so I was like, oh, maybe they have some toilet paper there. I need to start hoarding it like everybody else. And there they had a blank hardcover book. And I've always wanted to like write a silly, like any of my ideas, I want to make them like where I like when things mix genres, things that shouldn't work together, that work together. And so I've always wanted to do something that looks like it's geared towards kids, but is like vulgar and like, has like a cute little lesson. Kind of like when you think of like Avenue Q, like a musical that's so vulgar, it looks like it's geared towards kids, just things that don't look like they should work together. And so I wrote a little book that's kind of like in the style of like Dr. Seuss kind of like rhyming schemes. And it's just about a boy who's looking for toilet paper in the quarantine. And so it was just like a really silly book, and just it was honestly me just writing very, very basic poetry, and then putting some drawings too, because I wanted to work on like drawing people and like different styles. And then I just kind of drew the pictures to that, posted it on TikTok, and then it like went like crazy, like had like over like 300,000 views in like 24 hours, and like just really silly. And everyone's like, oh my God, post it, or like create it and make the book. And so I went forward and did that. So yeah, this guy right here.
And how did you mass produce it? I mean, you bought one book at Michael's, right? And then
Right.
okay.
So I just created that, and then when people were saying like, oh, you should sell that, I was unsure how that happened. So I was like, yeah, like looking at publishers, they want like somebody who has like an agent, all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, like this is me literally going to Michael's looking for toilet paper. And so a couple people reached out to me saying, if you sell it on Amazon as a self-publisher, then they'll create it and sell it, and then you don't have to worry about that cost, because they just wanted a copy of it. These like random people that were in like Wyoming. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I looked into it, and there's like a little fee for them to create the book, and then like portions are distributed. But with that, it's like brainless. I uploaded the manuscript, then they just approved it, made sure everything would look good, and then they go about all the hard work of the sales. So I don't get any like emails when people have purchased it or anything like that. I can go online and look at it. But it was just kind of a cool way for me to just upload it and share it, and a lot of people resonated with it just because it's like silly and just showing how everything is kind of ridiculous right now. So it's exciting. Yeah.
It is exciting. I've obviously our circle of friends are all posting, on Instagram and everywhere that they've got the book and that they're, promoting it and stuff like that. So that's great. So where do you want to go next with it? I mean, like, are you starting to think of maybe another book, a part 2, a part 3, or?
Yeah, a lot of people have hit me up about a part 2. I've been trying. It just, once it gets to me, it'll get to me. But yeah, I've been writing other little things, and I kind of like the idea of making stories that look like they're geared towards kids, but have like a deep meaning for adults. And so I've been kind of like writing, like trying to play around with stuff like that. Like I want to write something like pro like mental health and different stuff like that kind of genre, but still with the playfulness of like the heart and in different animations. But yeah, I've been doing that. A couple people have approached me about trying to illustrate for stories that they've created. So it's kind of launched some other stuff that I wasn't expecting. I was just trying to get my friends to laugh on Facebook. So it's kind of giving me little opportunities to work on being more creative and help people around there.
Is Michael still open? Can you still go buy more books, or?
No. But what was nice, I wouldn't want to. It was good. But the pages on the book were so thin because they're just meant for like little kids to like mess around with. And like I tried drawing, and if you look at the drawings on the original book, like the pictures are like really thick, the writing's really thick. Anything more than a pen would bleed through. And so I used a pen and I just scribbled and had to darken all of those hard lines. So it took me like 7 days to finish just writing it and drawing it. And so now that I'm messing around with the iPad, I can do it all like within hours versus days. My hands were like cramped. So I loved the hard copy little book, but I can live without it for now just for the sake of my hands.
Well, the iPad seems like it would be so much easier, obviously, for erasing and all that kind of stuff. So what is there a program for that? I mean, is like a Photoshop, or is it what kind of program?
I just use Procreate with the Apple Pen.
Okay.
It's kind of just the basic standard one that most people use, nothing crazy. But I don't need anything crazy for it. And then I can upload those files onto Photoshop, make it all the correct format, and do little tweaks there on the actual computer.
All right. Well, that's it. I mean, that's great that you're getting creative. I know that you've always been a creative person, and you definitely needed this outlet. And again, like I'm sad for everything that's going on right now, but I'm glad for you because you figured out something that you enjoy doing and it's making you happy. So that's always like a huge thing. You know me. I like you to be happy anyway.
Definitely.
So and when you're downtime, are you doing any TV? Are you doing any reading, or what's going on in your spare time?
Yes, I've been watching TV. Actually, I've been having insomnia. How's your sleeping been? Have you been sleeping normal?
The funny thing is, I will get tired around 10 o'clock, fall asleep, and then around 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm like wide up. Yeah, so my sleeping is all over the place. So
I was almost gonna be jealous for a second.
Yeah, no.
I was like, oh, never mind. Okay, yeah. So I have been watching Netflix, but I've also been randomly Alibaba. Have you heard of that app? Or you talk to different factories in different countries. And so I drew a picture of Patrick Star from SpongeBob as Pennywise. And I'm working with a factory on creating enamel pins. Well, this guy right here. And so I've been trying to just randomly that. And I was like, I need to stop trying to drop money when I don't have a job and I'm not getting unemployment right now. So started binging Netflix, watched Dead to Me. Have you seen that? Okay, just finished the second season.
That's Christina Applegate, yeah?
Yes, yeah. Every episode just ends on the best little cliffhanger there.
Yeah, I saw the first season. I haven't seen the second season yet, but it's up there. I keep seeing them posting it.
Yeah, definitely. Have you been watching anything on Netflix or anything?
Netflix
or any TV stuff?
Well, I do. Do you have Amazon?
Yes.
There's that new show called Upload. Have you heard it?
I have not seen it though.
It's really good, actually. To be honest with you, I was actually kind of shocked. I didn't think it was gonna be really good, but it surprised me for sure. And then Carnival Row is another one on Amazon with Cara Delevingne and Orlando. I keep posting that to everybody on Netflix. Peaky Blinders is one that I enjoy, but you got to watch it with the subtitles because you can barely understand what they're saying.
British, right?
Yeah. No, it's I think it's Irish. Everyone keeps asking me. I think it's Irish, but it's really thick.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to think. I think that's it for and then Disney, obviously.
Yes.
I have Disney Plus, so I did The Mandalorian a long time ago. They actually just did I guess it's funny because Jon Favreau used to have a show called Dinner for Five a long time ago, where he would bring in 5 randoms, like, an actor and a writer and a producer and a makeup, whatever, just kind of thing. And they would just sit around, eat dinner, smoke cigars or whatever, and just talk about the business, which is really kind of interesting. It was on like IFC or something, or Bravo, one of those channels. It got canceled. It was many years ago, and he actually kind of did the same sort of idea with all the directors that directed this season of Mandalorian, which was Bryce Dallas Howard, that Taki Wakiki, whatever his name is. I think there's 4 or 5 of them on there that directed the season. So that was really interesting because of that. And then anything that Disney does behind the scenes, you know what I mean, always interests me, kind of learning those kind of things. But yeah, I did. That's kind of really on Disney. I'm not a Marvel person at all. I don't particularly care for that stuff at all.
Yeah.
But I'll watch, Frozen 2 or something like that really quick if I want to have it on.
Great movie.
So great. That movie is so.
What was your favorite song?
Into the Unknown, of course. Like, that's my favorite. Are you kidding?
Okay.
Here's the thing.
Like, show yourself.
Yeah, I know.
Just two grown men talking about Frozen.
I know. Well, the funny thing about it was I've gotten to this heated debate with multiple people about music and stuff. So when Ryan and I go to Disneyland, we go back and forth with DCA and then, Disneyland and go back and forth. And there was a couple of times where we've walked through that, center courtyard area where we were listening to the music and we're going, it sounds like there's a band like right there on the other side of the ticket booths or something. I mean, that's how great that's the one thing that I cannot get over about Disney or anything that they do is their mixing, their production value, all that stuff is just so great. And although I feel that in Frozen, the first one, the what was the big, marquee song?
Let It Go.
Let It Go. Okay, yeah, I totally forgot.
How'd you forget?
I know, right? That was the marquee song, but I feel that Into the Unknown was kind of like, and I've talked about this before, was kind of like a side song. It wasn't really like the big marquee ending song or whatever like that. And I don't think that they thought it was going to become as huge as it did. But Adina, I think I'm a huge fan of hers anyway. So anything, she can't do no wrong no matter what she does. So, and it's just the whole, like I said, sound quality and everything. And the movies they are kind of like what you're doing. They're kind of like, they are for kids, but adults can relate to them too in ways,
Yeah, especially the second one. The second one had a completely different like mood shift.
Yeah.
When I was watching, it was like, this doesn't seem like that same, like, it's obviously kid friendly, but like same upbeat quality. It kind of just had more darker tones, which is nice.
Right. And she's got some eyeliner going on her and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So she's a little more emo hip kind of these days or whatever. So
I'm into it.
And that, and again, getting back to the comments when people are just like, you're a weirdo for going to Disney because who goes to Disney without kids? But, it started because I worked for them, Disney World in Orlando many years ago, and I was definitely a fan. But it came, especially with Ryan, it came more of it's an exercise thing for me. I know it sounds really stupid, but I get in so many steps and miles, you know what I mean? And it's just a good place to just kind of, and it's a stress reliever. Although sometimes, I mean, the way you and I go through rides, it's a stress reliever. I'm sure people that are waiting in lines for like 2 hours are probably not.
Right.
But yeah, no, and I, and Ryan got me into doing Universal too because I don't know if you've been into Universal in a long time, but there's the upper lot and the lower lot, and then there's all those stairs there. I mean, we walk up there, we do all those stairs, which is like 300.
Do the stairs?
Oh yeah, 350 steps. We do it 3 days. Well, he hasn't been, but I've been doing it. Before it closed, I was doing it 3 days a week. So I'll walk from my house. I will walk all the way up that main hill to get into Universal, go up there, walk down the stairs, maybe jump on the Mummy or Jurassic, and then walk back up the stairs. And then I'll try to do that three times a week. Yeah. So and it's to me, it's $150 for the year for season's pass. That's cheaper than a gym membership.
Definitely. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. And I can do it 3 times a week, and I don't have to, I'm talking to somebody the other day, they said it's $80 a month for a gym membership. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I get all the cardio out of that, and I get some extra entertainment, too, on the side. So, why not?
Definitely.
It was an exercise thing, and the Disney thing was always just kind of one of those things. I'm not really a Six Flags person or Knott's Berry, or those kind of things, so.
I feel like the theming's just really big in Universal and Disney. So that's kind of walking around Knott's is just walking around a couple of rides, I feel. So. And
that's the thing with roller coasters too, because I can do every single roller coaster at Disney, Space and Thunder and Incredicoaster. I can do those, but if you go and bring me to to Six Flags, I'm just looking at a track, and it doesn't,
Yeah,
and it doesn't hold my attention span. In Thunder, at least things are going around, and it's just kind of going. And even in the dark, it's space. It's just like you have no idea what's going on. But I don't know. To
that's
me, it's
true.
more entertaining that way. I mean, that was the whole thing of being able to get on rides that are more entertaining than just getting on some Superman thing that just flings you up into the sky and then that's it. Like that was not what I don't know what I'm going to do with that. So
Definitely.
so you're drawing now. So what's the goal? I mean, obviously you said that your financials are kind of in a little bit of a limbo right now and but you are working towards something. What would be, as unemployment comes in or as Disney comes back or whatever, where do you want to go in the next, upcoming year or so? I mean, finding new paths that you have, like what would be like the next step in that?
With drawing, I would like to continue just writing and drawing or helping illustrate other people's ideas as just like more of like a hobby, more than a full-time sitting there drawing around. Because we've talked about it before, I really enjoy film and the aspect of being on a production set. Drawing and stuff like that is really a fun creative outlet for me, but I go through phases where for like a month I can draw really, really well, and then for like 4 months I can't even draw a stick figure. So it just depends. If I'm like passionate about the project, then I can draw a lot more and mess around with it that way. But I would like to, fine tune my style with drawing and kind of just find that passion that I like, so I can make any kind of project like something that I could envision and stylize the way that I would like to convey it.
I mean, we were talking about this before about parlaying some of your talents into how to get you into the movie business,
Yeah.
production stuff like that. And drawing is definitely one of them because they do storyboards where they actually, they set up each picture, the DP and the director, they need to know where everything's going. So having that talent is a huge thing. Obviously in, design for anything, for clothing, for if they, any of that kind of stuff, or even if they, they need to be able to put out these, again, going back to storyboards where a company needs to walk in and say, hey, listen, this is our idea. This is what we think that this location is going to look like, or this scene is going to look like and stuff like. So those things are definitely a plus to be able to kind of parlay your talents into those kind of things and then figuring out.
And with a lot of the like plays that I told you I was messing around with, a lot of my different ideas, I've been doing like a lot of concept art of like how like the stage setup could look, and or if there's like a character that I'm trying to draw for a story, I'll draw like my first idea and then I'll be like, I got to make the second one completely different than that. And like, so I've been messing around a lot more with more concept designs rather than trying to make one image perfect, because I feel like having the ability to do concepts and then tone down and fine tune different areas of that could get me more. It can fine tune my skills in other ways.
So plays, when did we talk about the plays?
We've never talked. I don't talk about it.
Okay, well, so now guess what? You just opened your mouth, so we got to do it. Because, and I'm going to tell you why, because I think you and I definitely mentioned this to you multiple times, and I mentioned this because one of my goals for this year, unfortunately, has kind of been put to the wayside because of production and stuff, but one of them was I wanted to do a feature film like The Greatest Showman.
Yes.
And, when we've talked about that before, and then I needed to be able to, the hardest thing for that is to find the script. I can do everything else.
That's right. We talked about this.
I can do everything else. I have all the musicians, I have all the actors, I have all that stuff. I just could never find someone to take a story, like, P.T. Barnum and turn it into a musical, So that was one of the things that I've always kind of put out there. So let's talk about the plays and where that came from.
Well, these are ideas that I've had for a very long time that at first I was like, oh, this is like just like a silly, like, wouldn't this be a fun idea? Kind of like thinking like YouTube based stuff, because I didn't know that there's like a market out there that people do this. But again, with the mixing genres, when The Conjuring first came out, like I wanted to do like a jukebox musical of The Conjuring and just make it over the top ridiculous, like of more of like let's just get the story of the Conjuring from Bathsheba's point of view. Like maybe she's not that bad, like, and just be like really silly. And so like when I first started writing it, it was the music of Hairspray mixed with the Conjuring because it's kind of the same timeline. And then so like Welcome to the 60s was them getting like the little girls getting the crap beaten out of them by Bathsheba. Like it was just like really stupid stuff that way. And in my head, like I'm like, oh, this is just like a funny thought. And then I've been to a couple theater places where they do parodies of different movies, and they do musical parodies. And I'm like, oh crap, like this is like a thing that people do, just unauthorized musical parodies. And I was like, I had no idea. And so just all these like silly ideas that I've had, just they're all jukebox musicals for the most part. For those, just because I feel like I want to eventually create my own stories, my own original stuff, but I feel like messing around with the idea of a jukebox musical will help me identify how I'm able to get the script, make it move into a music, fluid. So then I get that rhythm. And then once I have like, oh, okay, this is the formula of how you're supposed to be doing this, then I can kind of mix and match my own storylines in it. But it's just been like a fun, like little hobby that I've done, but like literally since like The Conjuring, which was like forever ago. Just like silly things like that. And so I finally printed out scripts and stuff like that, and just like messing around with like different ideas. But yeah, I don't know. It's just been like, I don't talk about it because like it's just been so long since I've even had the idea. And then, but that's my thing, is I don't talk about stuff. I'm just like, oh, here's my fun idea. Hee. Like, just like, I don't know. It's a whimsical, like, even though I've been doing it for a long time, just downplaying my ideas, I guess.
And that was
yeah.
that was always the thing with you and I, is that I was trying to get this stuff out. And like I said, I hate that we're being locked down, but I'm proud that you are doing what you're doing finally right now, and you're actually, finding some hobbies that you enjoy doing. And I would love you to write me my next Greatest Showman and do it that. I mean, that would be, because, Ryan had brought me to a long time ago. Now I forget what it was called. It was about the mob. Damn it! I wish I remember what it was. But it was a musical, kind of like that Jukebox kind of situation. Okay. And it was very interesting in that, and watching The Greatest Showman a bunch of times and all these other musicals, that was something that I enjoyed doing. And I realized that you can pretty much take anything and turn it into a musical if you wanted to. I mean, when you go back to the Sound of Music, which was just about a nanny and, and 6 kids or however kids it was or whatever, so there are things, I mean, being creative in that realm is definitely, it's a niche, I guess. You know what I mean? Like being able to kind of figure that out, because I have millions of writer friends that could write me scripts, but no one's going to be able to write me. They start walking down the street and then break into song here, you know what I mean? And then what's that song about? And then breaking that song down. So
exactly. So that's why I feel like messing around with all those things is helping me kind of identify like different formulas and different techniques that I can do for that. So yeah. Guess I won't be so shy when I talk about those things, huh?
Yeah, you are. Well, and also too, I mean, our main conversations, yes, we text and we spend time together, but not normally it's about, we're talking as we're screaming on, cars or something like that or whatever. So
definitely.
There's a very, very minimal time in between where we're trying to get to the next attraction where we're talking about things. But yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, those are great things, and I'm glad that you're doing them. I mean, that's basically what I've been pushing you to do for the longest time, is to try to figure out, I'd said, come on and be a PA on a set, but you're not that person. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I would love to have you come and visit and just kind of do that. But I think that once you find something that you're happy doing outside, which I feel that you have with drawing and writing and doing all that stuff, you will be able to parlay that into that kind of situation. I mean, I started out as an actor for 5 minutes a long time ago, and then started showing up to set and learning about cameras and lighting, and and I just was just like anything else. Like when you get hired into a restaurant, you start as a busboy or whatever, and then you become a waiter, and then floor manager, blah, 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 stuff like that. So it's just about kind of figuring that stuff out. But if you can get into that industry, if you have that niche, that you can actually use, that's always like a huge plus. So I'm glad that you are got there.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. And although, the circle of people that we have do bully all of us. I mean, I talked to, it is what it is. I don't know why.
We're very strong people for putting up with it.
Clearly, yes. And, I'm glad that we are all become friends and then we, and we can check up on each other. And if we, need things and the name of my show is Cool, Calm, Connected, which means, cause I am connected to a writer, to a musician, to, whoever. If I can take you, like we've always done before, and introduce you to somebody else who can then help you go, that's basically been my thing since the beginning.
Definitely.
But I know we've been trying to do this for a while, and
yes.
Thank you very much for doing this. I appreciate this. And
thank you for letting me. Thank you for having me.
Of course. But again, like I said, I just wanted to thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. And if you do need anything, or if you want to bounce off some stuff about that play stuff, I'd love to kind of, talk to you about those kind of things.
Thank you.
And where can we get your book?
It is available on Amazon.
Okay.
So Amazon, Corey is in quarantine. If you search my name as well, Joseph Noble, I'm formal on Amazon.
Jeez.
Yeah. Very formal.
Cool.
But yeah, it's on Amazon.
Cool.
So,
All right. Well, thank you very much for doing this. And again, like, we'll get through this hopefully one of these days. It's one of those things.
Definitely.
I need
definitely.
Disney.
You're always welcome to hit me up if you need anything. And I'm so proud of you for doing this, creating this podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm going to end it on that because that was perfect. That was a perfect.
Right? Good compliment there. All right. Thank you for having me.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you soon. Have a good one.